In this episode of CARPe Diem.
For the past 35 years, CARP has been advocating for Canadians as we age. Coming up, the ABCs of CARP: advocacy, benefits, and community.
CARPe Diem. Seizing the day for Canadians as we age.
Welcome. 31% of Canadian seniors have gone back to work after retirement. CARP's philosophy is the best way to keep going is to keep going. Just like Denise, this week's Zippy Zoomer.
Hey everyone, welcome back to our Zippy Zoomer segment. We're here in South Surrey at Arthur Murray Dance Studio with 7-year-old Denise in our Zumba class.
You know, some of us are going left, some of us go right, some of us the right hand goes up, some the left hand goes up, but you know, in the end it really doesn't matter because it's all about getting fit and having fun. I try and do something every day, and I try to get out and go for a walk down to the beach and back up, which probably, as you know, is a bit of a hike, so you're really puffing at the end of that.
The other thing is she's an avid traveler, so she and I will compare our travel stories, because one of the things that you do when you don't have to work anymore is travel a lot.
You all right? Well, we're going to die. I think this is the only logical conclusion out of this particular series of events, is it?
You've been a great son.
Yeah, I love you, Mom. It's been fun.
You say you're a first-time grandma.
First-time grandma, yes. You know, I'm trying to stay fit and healthy so that when she starts walking, I can run after her and I can bring her down to the beach. We can go in the water.
So what's the secret to keeping the energy up?
It's having a purpose in life. And once you get to be 70 and up, it's kind of hard to find that sometimes. So you really have to, again, think outside the box, step outside your comfort zone.
Not sure if I'll get the hang of this. In the meantime, we're gonna head back to the studio with Carmen. If you have a Zoomer to nominate, don't forget to nominate them at Zippy Zoomer at CARP. Whoa, at CARP.ca.
Ramona, Denise has the moves.
She certainly does for a 70-year-old babe, yes.
Right,
and she's a new grandma, but we don't call her grandma, we call her glamma.
Oh, that's a good one.
And she is on my team. She's on the executive of the CARP White Rock Surrey chapter.
Well, she's fantastic, right, Wanda? I mean, wow.
I love it. You know, and as I'm watching her exercise, I'm so aware. Often we hear about the benefits of surgeries or drugs, but exercise is one of the most important things we can do for ourselves as we age, and she's just demonstrated that so beautifully.
Like the Stand Up Straight campaign, that's your new advocacy campaign, and Tim, it's all about just move it and keep it going.
Well, I've been doing twice-a-week workouts for 3 months, and as she mentioned in the video, the more you keep going, the easier it is to keep going.
Well, that's amazing about the Zippy Zoomers. They outpace us.
And there are so many Zippy Zoomers.
From Zumba to walking, the key is movement. We're going to take a short break. When we return, we're going to talk about the first pillar of CARP, advocacy.
Which of the aspects of CARP appeals the most to you?
Oh, advocacy. I'm only interested in helping make a change for seniors.
CARPe Diem. Seizing the day for Canadians as we age.
We're talking CARP. Just how powerful is this organization? Watch this.
As you can see, it's a packed house here at the Burlington Performing Arts Center, as over 700 guests have made their way here for the Mayor's Inspire presentation series to hear from his special guest, media mogul and CARP president, Moses Neimer.
The best is yet to come, and babe, won't it be fun?
Between subscribers and members, we've got 500,000 people. If you added up all the members of the Liberal Party, the Conservative Party, and the NDP, I'm not sure you'd get anywhere near that number. And just the other day, we did an interesting exercise. We took the number of Zoomers and plotted them as if they were a physical geography, And the Zoomers would be the second largest province in Canada.
Wanda, that's a lot of members.
Carmen, we do have a lot of members, and the numbers are growing. There are now more Canadians 65 and over than under 15. And with that wave of boomers heading into retirement years, we know there's going to be more and more CARP members to come.
Yeah. And you have a lot of members in White Rock.
We do indeed. We're between 1,800 and 2,000.
How about in North Fraser, too?
We have more than 2,000 members, and we all are aware that they're heavy voters. They go to municipal elections, provincial, federal. They're out there ticking that box.
You know, that's so true. We actually polled our members right after the federal election to find out how many voted. 98% of our members voted in the federal election. And that's why when we do things like member polls, we hear from the federal government and they say, please share your polls with us. We want to know what your members are thinking.
So your large membership gives you access to these powerful politicians so that you can get policies passed.
Absolutely. And nationally and in Ontario, we've long had a strong voice. And one of the reasons we opened up an office here in BC is because we want to grow our membership and our voice here. We already have 40,000 members. That's nothing to sneeze at. But we can be even stronger than that so that when the government here, whether it's the NDP or the Liberals, when they're looking at making policy changes, they're talking to us to make sure they've considered the viewpoints of our members in the policies that they're developing.
Because it's important to note that you're nonpartisan.
We are nonpartisan, but we do connect very much. Like every time we have an event, we invite the mayor, we invite all the MLAs and the MPs as well. And they always come, they always accept our invitation.
They like to get out and meet their constituents and see what they're up to and just meet them in the context of something happening rather than a formal meeting in the office.
Well, speaking of advocacy, I want to show you what you did with your team about pension reforms. Let's take a look at this clip of CARPe in action.
I worked for Sears Canada for 34 years. Mr. Trudeau in the bankruptcy laws has just made 16,000 retirees into poverty.
Over 2,000 concerned pensioners and volunteers have united all across Canada today for CARP's National Day of Action to demand that MPs commit to better protection for pensioners.
We've reached out to all our members, and all of them together are going to be reaching out to their respective MPs to demand that pensioners be put first, be given super priority status.
I'll be 75 in May. Do I go back to work? What choices do I have?
I'm working with Minister Baines and a number of my colleagues to ensure that we do have fully funded pensions no matter what happens. We're looking at a range of policy issues and options. Super priority is one of them.
You know, I want the pressure on companies to keep the dollars in the bank and not get below.
Pensions are compensation. It's simply deferred compensation. It's not something that you earn this month. It's something that you earned over 20, 30 years.
To learn more, go to carp.ca/Day of Action. Here in Burlington, I'm Carly Saggy for Zoomer News.
Wanda, that's a very powerful argument.
And we know it really resonated with our members. One of the things that we did is we asked them to call their MPs to have them come to a day of action that we were holding on Parliament Hill, a lobby day. And we had so many people call that we actually had some of the MPs calling our offices. We had one constituency assistant call and say, can you please have your members stop calling? We can't get any work done. And we said, well, you know, we have a really good way for you to make our members go away, which is just give us what we want. We haven't got it yet, but we know they're getting the message. Another way we know is just after we had our National Day of Action, the budget came down about 2 weeks later, and I suspect most of it had been decided by the time we were having our Day of Action, but there was a paragraph that looked like it had been inserted fairly close to the last minute, basically giving a call out to pensioners and saying that the government was concerned about that situation. So I know when our members speak, governments listen.
How many members do you have across the country?
We have about 300,000 members across the country, including 40,000 right here in BC.
Can you give us an example of something you're very proud to have changed, a win?
So CARP has had a lot of wins over our history. One of the first ones, I think one of the most valuable, was getting rid of mandatory retirement age. And now we know significant numbers of Canadians work past 65. Well, they can thank CARP for giving them the choice to do that. More recently, we had really significant ones running up to the last federal election. The government rolled back the age of Wage security eligibility from 67 to 65. And that's an example of how our members really care, not about themselves, but about younger seniors. They were going to benefit from that, by and large, but they cared enough to fight for it in exactly the same way they fought for changes to CPP for younger members, so that the Canada Pension Plan, rather than just covering 25% of earnings, now, when it's fully implemented, will give people a pension on 33% of their pre-retirement earnings. More recently, we had I would say, a long overdue change to protect our lowest income seniors. So while CARP members tend to be a bit more educated and a bit more affluent than average, they care about vulnerable seniors too. Our members advocated, and we got $1,000 a year in additional guaranteed income supplements for our lowest income seniors. We've fought for caregivers, and we fought for home care, and we've seen changes there too. An investment of $3 billion in home care over 5 years, $6 billion over 10, promised by the federal government, and most recently changes to employment insurance so that caregivers, many of our members are caregivers. Some of our older members receive care. There's a real hardship among so many caregivers. So changes to EI to extend the amount of coverage and to extend the circumstances where caregivers could get employment insurance, really important, and I believe CARP was instrumental in making that happen.
I think that's all marvelous, marvelous wins, and there's so much more that you can benefit from CARP, and that's what we're going to talk about, benefits and community. We'll be right back.
I also like the benefits that they have, like Zoomer Wireless. When I retired, I switched from one of the big carriers to Zoomer and cut my bill in half.
They have these bulletins that come out where we get certain discounts on different places, like a hotel or a meal or something, which is great.
CARPE Diem, seizing the day for Canadians as we age.
Before the break, we discussed CARP advocacy. Now it's time for benefits and community. Let's start with you, Ramona. What perks do you enjoy?
Well, I have CARP insurance, the travel insurance, and I don't know if our viewers know, but even if you just go over the border, like my being in White Rock, I'm 2 minutes away from the border, so sometimes I go over to get gas or some ice cream or whatever. If you go over without travel insurance and something happens to you, oh boy, you're in trouble. So you really need to have that insurance. I take the 30 days at a time, so I can go on a longer trip or just over the border, whatever I want to do. Another really good benefit is Iris. You get $150 off on the glasses. Zoomer Wireless is wonderful because now myself and my partner, we only pay $80 a month, and we get internet and all the telephone calling that we want to do. And there's Budget Rent-A-Car, Avis Rent-A-Car, Choice Hotels. So that's a wonderful one. And of course the Swiss Chalet, who doesn't like chicken? So you might just say, I'm in it for the chicken.
Tim, what do you like?
Well, I like a couple of straight up financial benefits. One of them is new members get an ESSO card that has enough value to pay for the membership.
Wanda, you must use the perks too.
I do, and savvy shopper that I am, I'm really excited about our latest benefit, which is Rexall and 20% off. I know I'm going to save some money there, but I'm also a woman who loves a nice hotel, so I love the benefit of Fairmont hotels that we get. It's really fantastic. So those in particular.
I really like the CARP Health 360.
Thinking about that CARP 360, I think our members perhaps don't even realize the value of that particular program. I remember getting an email actually from a woman who was incensed because her doctor had closed his offices, so without any choice in the matter, she was moved to another doctor, and she was told if she wanted her records moved that she would have to pay $90 to have them copied by a digital source. Now, CARP 360 is CARP Health 360 is of course a free benefit to all our members, and they will take digital copies of all your records. So it's a really great value, as well as the emergency services. So if someone runs into health problems, and as we age, that's more likely to happen, you've got your emergency card, and you're not going to be stranded without people knowing who to call.
I think that's
and
wonderful.
It's good to know that all these benefits offered by CARP, we've checked them out to make sure they're companies that are safe for seniors to deal with.
Yeah, they're not discount companies. It's just that they give you a discount.
Yeah.
Very important distinction.
Absolutely, because what we know is there's a real benefit between CARP and Zoomer, and this is where we really see it materialize. There is a lot of advertisers that want access to our demographic with good reason, and so we say to them, sure, like advertise in Zoomer magazine or on our radio or Joy TV, but at the same time offer a discount to our members, and that